Hey, I'm Jeremy, and we're going to take a look at the Alice character from the Unmatched games. Now, this Alice is Alice from Alice in Wonderland or Alice Through the Looking Glass. This character is part of the original Unmatched set, Battle of Legends Volume 1. This artwork here isn't bad, but I don't know that I would particularly recognize that as Alice. I also don't recall Alice having this giant knife, but maybe this is like a kitchen knife that she found when she was small. I don't know. Alice is paired with the Jabberwock as her sidekick, and this started a lot of argument amongst my friends as to exactly what the Jabberwock's connection was to Alice in Wonderland, because they don't recall much about that. But apparently the Jabberwock was a poem that Lewis Carroll wrote that Alice reads early on in the original book form. So that is the connection there to it. Alice's artwork, I think that this is some of the most unique color scheme that they have for any character. We've got this kind of pastel blue and kind of bright pinkish purple color. This is also one of my favorite card backs here. If you look here in the keyhole there, you can kind of just barely see Alice in there in a dark gray. And when you go through her cards, all of the artwork in here is just thoroughly bonkers, just vivid, crazy, and insane, which is kind of brilliant because Alice in Wonderland is vibrant and crazy and bonkers. I don't know exactly how Lewis Carroll was able to concoct all of the crazy stuff from this story. He must have been on the good drugs. So as we start to take a look at Alice here, we see that she's a melee character with a health of 13. She has the single Jabberwock, who's a melee with a health of 8. She has a movement of 2, which is pretty typical. So Alice's special ability is that she can be either big or small. Now you will start the game deciding if you're big or if you are small. You have this indicator here for small Alice and indicator for big Alice. Small Alice has a +1 defensive boost. Big Alice has a +2 offensive boost. This +2 or +1 on Alice cannot be canceled. So this is an inherent character ability. On the offensive side, there does have to be a card played for her to get that boost. If she doesn't play a card, she has no defense. She's not getting a 1 defense automatically. She has no defense. Now, this is also on both small and big Alice. If someone's effects cancel the value of her card, that does not cancel the +2 or the +1. So she could end up with a defensive 1 or a defensive 2 if something sets the value of the card's attack to 0 or the card's defense to 0. And we'll start going through Alice's deck here with all of this crazy psychedelic artwork. Alice has 3 attack cards here that she has only 1 of each. Oh Frabjous Day. After combat, change size. This is attack of 4. You will see that a lot of Alice's effects have her changing size. You as the player only choose Alice to be small or big at the start of the game. After that, she changes size by card effects. The other side of the mushroom, an attack of 3. After combat, move Alice up to 3 spaces, change size. Snicker Snack, an attack of 3. After combat, if you won the combat, look at your opponent's hand and choose 1 card for them to discard. We then go into Alice's defense cards, Looking Glass. This is choose 2 different effects, so 3 effects available, choose 2 of them. Draw 2 cards, Alice recovers 3 health, place Alice in any other space. She has 2 of these, which means that she can gain 6 health, and she can do that defensively, which means that someone can attack Alice and end up losing or only hit her for 1 or 2 health hits, and then she can end up taking the 3 and end up having more health after the attack than she started with. Okay, you're gonna guess what's going on with this one by the name. If you're familiar with Alice in Wonderland, Eat Me, move Alice up to 3 spaces, change size. Because of course changing size is part of Eat Me. Oh, here's Drink Me. Draw 2 cards and change size. We get into Alice's versatile cards. Mad as a Hatter. Move each of your fighters up to 2 spaces, change size. That's versatile of 3. She has 2 of those. I'm late! I'm late! A versatile card of 2. After combat, move Alice up to 5 spaces, change size. So lots of movement and lots of changing size. All right, time for the Jabberwock. This is an attack of 4, jaws that bite. Deal 2 damage to any 1 fighter adjacent to the Jabberwock. Remember that they have to be adjacent after all of the effects. If they have defensive effects that move either them or the Jabberwock, they may end up not being adjacent to you anymore. Claws that catch. If the opposing fighter is a hero, this card's value is 5 instead. So that could potentially be an attack of 5 from a sidekick, which is pretty good. Now we are into the any cards. All of the any cards in Alice's deck are versatile, and most of them are kind of common cards that you will see that many other characters have. Manxome Foe, a versatile of 3. During combat, discard the top card of your deck, add its boost value to this card's value. That can be a good way to really bring up the defense if you think that they're sending a really huge attack on you. It's also something that you can use to attack with. And as I said earlier, we're now into the common cards. Skirmish, a versatile of 4. If you won the combat, choose one of the fighters in the combat and move them up to 2 spaces. Regroup, versatile of 1. Draw 1 card. If you won the combat, draw 2 instead. Have 3 of those. Momentous Shift, a versatile of 3. During combat, if your fighter started this turn in a different space, this card's value is 5 instead. And Feint, versatile of 2. Immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card. So Alice really has a lot that she can do with the things in her deck. She has a lot of movement. She has some cancel abilities. She has a way to deal after damage. She has ways to heal as part of her defensive cards. And she can get the boosts on there. Didn't mention earlier, it is important on the boost to remember that the offensive and defensive boosts only apply to Alice. They do not apply to the Jabberwock. The Jabberwock only attacks for what the card's value is. So part of this, and this is typical of really any of the characters that have states that they can be in. Alice, Jekyll and Hyde, and Willow from the Buffy set. You have to manage when you are in which state you are in. Try to be big when you need to be big. Be small when you need to be small. You want to be small when you're running around the board. If you're going to just be maneuvering around and just kind of hanging out and drawing cards and not doing any big attacks, you just kind of want to stay small. You can attack when you're small. You just don't want to do your huge attacks when you are small. You want to roll out the big stuff when you're big, and you will sometimes, inevitably, making yourself big to be able to go up to someone and attack them, and leaving yourself big at the end of the turn. So you want to make sure that when you are big, since you don't have that defensive boost, you need to make sure that you have some good defense cards if you're going to leave yourself big at the end of your turn. The Jabberwock is pretty useful as a sidekick because there are a good chunk of any cards in there, in addition to just the Jabberwock's own cards, which the Jabberwock has some pretty good attack cards. These 4s and 3s, especially with the after effects of dealing damage and the value of these going up if he's up against a hero. The Jabberwock can really do a lot, so like don't forget about him. You know, he's got a good, you know, over half the deck that can be used by the Jabberwock. If you leave Alice small, you may want to leave her small somewhere and then just let the Jabberwock run around and do stuff while Alice is small, and don't have her attack while she's small and leave that to the Jabberwock. So Alice can be really powerful if she is used right, because as you would imagine, the cards for Alice are all pretty crazy. But really, Alice is one of the favorites of mine, and someone that you can really do a lot of damage with and do very well if you know how to use her right. So if you found this review of Alice useful, you can go down into the comments and leave a thumbs up and a like. You can leave any comments that you have about Alice or my review of her. You can also go and take a look at my reviews of the other Unmatched characters and see what you think of those.